Let's go. All right, we're back. Let's get this thing figured out. So let's go. Live on YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. We're pulling up Instagram right now. Let's get this thing rolling. So we tried to do the watch party. YouTube wasn't liking it. YouTube wasn't liking the watch party, and that's okay. That's okay. So we're back. We decided to regroup, and we decided to talk about wide receiver 3, who we really feel has at least the upper hand at competing, because I think at this point we can all kind of agree wide receiver at 3 at this point, it's kind of up for grabs. We really don't know for sure who it's going to be. So let's take a look, and we'll start with discussing what needs to be replaced, or at least in regards to in that sense. So when we look at 2020, we look at Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne played in 15 games. He had 49 receptions, 667 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that's going to be kind of like our baseline right now for wide receiver 3 production. Now, we understand when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, we're talking about different groups. I really don't think, and I haven't thought this for the majority of Kyle Shanahan running, this offense, that it's like strict, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. I really think it's based on personnel groupings, what he's trying to accomplish in attacking a certain defense on a certain play. So he's going to trot out certain groupings and certain guys for certain situations. But again, trying to kind of simplify it a bit, take a step back, and just, think who's our wide receiver 3. And again, it's going to be a bunch of different guys. But let's look at the top guys that we think are going to slot in to that wide receiver 3 position. Because I think as it goes right now, we feel very comfortable with our top 2 guys. And I think with Debo going down, and it's a 1A, 1B situation, I think with what we saw from Brandon Ayuk in 2020 is you get an idea that, like, all right, Ayuk is a little bit different, and Debo's different as well, but they're different in completely different ways. Brandon Ayuk really has the ability to stretch the field. He has the ability to take the tops off of defenses, but he also has the ability to play behind the line of scrimmage, to play in the short to intermediate game. It doesn't really matter. Brandon Ayuk kind of has proven to us that he can do pretty much everything. So I think that makes it easier for 49er fans to kind of, if we have to assign ranking, I think 49er fans at this point are kind of saying Brandon Ayuk is wide receiver 1, Debo Samuel wide receiver 2. Again, 1A, 1B situation. But with Debo Samuel, we need Debo to get healthy and stay healthy. Debo runs so hard and plays so hard that, again, that can translate into injuries, because we see how Debo plays. He's like a Marshawn Lynch playing wide receiver. And so when you're not only like inviting contact, but you're looking for contact, I think that's just the biggest thing with fans right now, is they just want to make sure that a guy who plays that hard can stay healthy for now 17-game season. And again, 49ers want playoffs, man. We want to win the division. We want to go deep into the playoffs. So essentially what we're looking for is we're looking for guys to be available, not only for those 17 games, but guess what? We need that stretch run in the playoffs as well. Because this team is built to go far. Just got to stay healthy. Again, that we're going to hear that just got to stay healthy for literally the entire offseason, for the entire season, and what have you. But it's the rallying cry at this point, right? Just got to stay healthy. But looking at that wider 3 position, let's go down the roster. and let's look at some of the available guys that are here. And if you're on YouTube, I'll share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at as well. But essentially what we're looking at for available wide receivers left in the wide receiver 3 zone is we have veteran Travis Benjamin. Travis Benjamin opted out 2020. We have River Cracraft, who's added last season, stuck around on the roster and is headed back this year. We have Benny Fowler, who was added this year out of Michigan State. He's a journeyman wide receiver who's been multiple places. Of course, Jalen Hurd, the player I'm asked about the most on this page out of anyone. Jalen Hurd is available. Richie James didn't go anywhere. Richie James is still on the team. Don't forget about Richie. And then also we got Jawan Jennings dealing with a severe injury from all accounts. Basically almost ripped a muscle off the bone last year. So we would have seen him, but he got hurt. So we weren't able to see him on the field. Excited to see what we get out of that 6'3" body. You got Andy Jones recently signed, Mohamed Sanu, and don't forget Trent Sherfield, who came over from Arizona, who's been a pretty key special teams guy for at least Arizona. And we'll see what he turns into with us. But then you also got undrafted free agent Austin Watkins Jr. and Kevin White. So when you look at the whole group as a whole, there are a lot of bodies. We got a lot of bodies in that wide receiver room, and we got some good depth ranging from young, inexperienced guys, journeymen who've been all across the league, and veterans like Sanu, who've been there and have played at the highest level. So we'll look at a couple things. Let's look at Mike McDaniels last week came out and said Sanu, I think, came into camp in great shape, and he basically said he's going to be a guy that's going to be really difficult to beat out. So you have to already kind of assume. And again, we saw Mohamed Sanu. He's working with Trey Lance today down in Atlanta, Georgia. So with Mohamed Sanu, and again, some of the hype that his OC had built up, talking about how good a shape he is in, I think Mohamed Sanu is right there at wide receiver 3 for a lot of these guys. Now, another guy, and I think most fans would agree that wide receiver 3, you're kind of looking at Sanu because based on his production in the NFL up until this point and what he's been able to do, and especially if he's getting into really good shape, that's good news for the 49ers because, again, he's also a veteran presence that you love to have in your room and you love to have available for your squad. But then, you start looking past that. Who are the guys that are going to, again, compete with Sanu and compete with these other guys for that wide receiver 3 spot? And so I think that's where it gets really interesting because Jalen Hurd, if he can be healthy and be available, again, you look at the traits. The sample size is so small based on preseason and what we saw 2 years ago from the Cowboys. You can almost throw that out the window because it was so long ago. We don't know what he is today, what he looks like today, how he's recovered. We just don't know. It's unknown. It's unknown at this point. So unless you're in the building, unless you're working with him, which I am not, so I can't speak to that. But of course, with Jalen Hurd, if he can get healthy and he can, again, be available, he has a really good opportunity to work in and get some production because of the skill set that he provides. Now, I've talked about this guy quite a bit. If you pay attention, and it's slowly bubbling up, and it's coming up more and more. It's coming up more and more. Watch out for River Cracraft, man. I think River Cracraft is coming. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why something keeps pulling me towards River. He's inexperienced. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity on the field. Again, he got some run with us last year. Couple opportunities here or there, but still learning the offense, and coming in and learning these guys. He came in mid-season. I really, really think River Cracraft is someone we need to look out for. Because again, I talk about what I see on tape with him, his traits, his size. So again, I wanted to make sure I'm not crazy, because I'm like, why am I so drawn to River Cracraft? Why am I so drawn to River Cracraft? Am I insane? Am I losing my mind? What's going on? Because again, we just haven't really seen much of him. We really haven't seen much of him. The inexperience levels are low. He's still a relatively young wide receiver, 26 years old. Has been fighting for a roster spot this entire time. So I hit up, I do what I do. I drop in the DMs. I hit up his coach that he's been working with for the last couple months. I hit up his coach and I'm like, dude, and I just said straight up, what's your honest opinion on River? He said, warrior, beast, technician, one, and then the last line he said, one of my favorite guys ever. And I love that, because this guy works with everyone. This guy who says one of my favorite guys ever works with everyone. Like, he works with everyone. So again, I had to go and make sure I wasn't going crazy. Like, am I crazy? Like, what? Like, is this vibe that's pulling me towards River Cracraft? Is that real? Like, because again, there's not a lot out there on him. So you only see the traits in little parcels, but what you can pull from those little parcels and clips you get is you see the traits and you see what he has. So, man, from one of his main coaches himself that he's been with, one of my favorite guys ever, quote. And like I said, this dude works with everyone in the NFL. So I think this River Cracraft train is slowly pulling out of the station. We're slowly pulling out of the station. So I'm hyped for his development, excited to see what he turns into. But then I think one of the most logical thought processes when it comes to looking at wide receiver 3 is Richie James. I think Richie James Jr. is someone that has been on this roster since 2017, 7th round draft pick. He made the team as a rookie, as a 7th round draft pick, and has stuck around ever since. But we understand more than anyone that Kyle Shanahan doesn't run wide receiver. Let me reverse that. Kyle Shanahan doesn't run 3 wide receiver sets. He runs them less than anyone in the NFL. So typically you're only getting 2 wide receivers. You're getting the fullback. You're getting the tight end. So that just has led to guys like Kendrick Bourne, Richie James not getting a ton of opportunities and having to take advantage of the opportunities. So with Richie James, he seems to me like, yeah, I had a mini stroke. Bear with me. But I'm back. Richie James to me seems like the most logical to slot in to the wide receiver 3 based on his skill set. Again, he seems perfect to come out of the slot based on his ability to run routes. His lateral quickness is legit. He's got hands. He seems to make the most of every single opportunity he's ever given. So with those types of guys, I think you would just love to see them get more opportunity. You would love to see them be able to take that next step. So that's kind of who I see as the logical wide receiver 3. But again, you still got Juwan Jennings. Don't forget about Juwan Jennings. 6'3" wide receiver, only 23 years old. Again, we didn't see him last year because of injury. He could come in and compete and, push really hard for that wide receiver 3. It doesn't even have to be wide receiver 3. Could come in for like goal line packages, things like that. Being a big bodied guy, he could be a chain mover, someone who can get to a spot, quarterback finds him, throws it to only where Juwan can get it. I'm a big fan of Juwan coming out of Tennessee. Again, another 7th rounder. He has an opportunity to take the next step this year. And then we talk about some of the other guys that are left with Trent Sherfield. It's just hard because you have to look at how many wide receivers are the 49ers going to carry. Typically it's 6. Last year they carried 7. Maybe they only carry 2 quarterbacks this year because they feel confident in their quarterbacks. Maybe they only carry Jimmy and only carry Trey, which then opens up opportunity to keep another player like 7 wide receivers. So with Sherfield, it's hard to say. He's been one of the better special team players. I've talked to guys who cover the Arizona Cardinals, and they talk about he's an underrated wide receiver. He's underrated as a special teams player. So who knows? Maybe he steps up. Kevin White, you just don't know. Again, journeyman of all journeymen, former top 10 pick. He was one of my huge draft crushes. I thought he was going to be one of the guys in the league. And unfortunately, just never found his footing in Chicago because he was getting hurt all the time and just never being able to see the field, and then has kind of bounced around ever since. We just haven't seen White. But you go back to his college, you look at his college tape, unbelievable wide receiver in college. Just can't stay healthy, unfortunately. And then, Andy Jones, Travis Benjamin, I don't know. I don't know if those guys stick around. I don't know if that's the route that they go. But we'll see. Eric ED saying 7 wide receivers, way too many. Well, they carried 7 last year, ED. They carried 7 last year, which was surprising. Because they typically only carry 6. And last year they carried 7. So this year, again, it's gonna be you don't have that clear delineation, at least from the outside looking in, of who's actually better. And how does that 6th and 7th wide receiver stack? Do they think they're good enough to carry a 7th? Can that 7th be a legitimate special teams player? I don't know. And again, you look at the running back room, you got Mostert, you got Sermon, you got Gallman. Yeah, see, we had 3 wide receivers that made plays. The other ones, it was just hard to get them acclimated and get them going. It really felt like for a long time, it's been hard to get some of these wide receivers going in this offense. But again, you understand Kyle Shanahan, you understand he's trying to run the football. Everything's predicated off the run. So partial, you have to be able to show run, which means they're coming out, I believe, in 21 personnel, which is 2 wide receivers, tight end, fullback. Almost every play, it feels like 80% of the time that's formation they're coming out in. So wide receiver 3 hasn't really been, I don't know, crazy for us. But you saw what happened when Emmanuel Sanders came in and you added him to a room with Debo Samuel and Kendrick Bourne, just really elevated the entire group. But this year you have Ayuk and Debo, who are now becoming veterans. Debo's, entering year 3. He's becoming a veteran of this room. Obviously, we have older guys as well, but Debo's the one been producing when healthy. Ayuk's been the one producing when healthy. Outside of that, again, Richie James, when given opportunities, has produced, but the opportunities are far and few in between. So with the wide receiver 3, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, I think it's going to be a combination of Cracraft, Hurd, James, and Jennings, and Sanu. But again, there becomes a log jam. There is a log jam. I see a situation where you can keep 7 of these guys. You hear ED's like, nah, don't do it. Don't do it. It's too many. But we'll see, because I think with this year, we can see a little bit more production out of that position. I would really like to see more of a balanced attack out of Kyle Shanahan's offense. Again, I know everything is set up off the run. I know he's predicated off run first, play action. You got boots, you got nakeds, you got all of those things that come off of it. But at the same time, too, I want to see this team be able to, if they have to, drop back and let this thing rip. And, be able to do it through the air if they need to, not if they have to. I think that's just the biggest difference that I want to see with the evolution of the offense. It's just to being able to see the offense do it because they can, not because they have to. I just want to see them air that thing out because they can and then do it, not because they're behind and have to play that style of brand of football. And of course, if you can do that at any given time, you can absolutely do that when you're playing from a behind in a must-have, situation type scenario. So that's kind of how I see it stacking up. If I had to pick a wide receiver 3 again, like I said, I don't anticipate this scenario being like a locked in slot 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they have groupings based on situation, and each player fits a specific role. But if we're going to play that game, 1, Ayuk, 2, Debo, 3, Sanu, 4, Richie James, 5, Cracraft, 6, Hurd. 7 becomes Jennings. So 7 is Jennings. 7. So that's where we find out. That's where we find out. Oh, good point. Good point, ED. So if we're going to talk about receptions and take away the wide receiver tab, Kittle, like ED says, wide receiver 1. And I think you'd have to agree with that. In regards to pecking order, in regards to targets, and especially when you look at who the quarterback is. So you look at Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo likes that short to intermediate game. Now, Garoppolo does a better job of spreading the ball around a little bit, opposed to guys like Mullins or Beathard that we would see kind of lock in on Kittle and almost like force feed Kittle the ball, because they're, it's right there. It's going to be closest read to him, and it's Kittle, so you get him the ball. But after that, it's Ayuk, Debo, and then pick a name out of the hat at this point. So that's what I'm looking for in regards to training camp. I'm super excited to see how this whole camp plays out, because there is competition everywhere. Specifically this wide receiver room. BP Tony says forgot about Travis Benjamin. I didn't forget about Travis Benjamin. But again, an older wide receiver who did not play last year, opted out of 2020, and you have a guy like Richie James who has a same, very similar skill set, but is young and still has some proven ability. I just don't see how Travis Benjamin etches out anyone for a final roster spot. He seems like a guy to me that you would maybe put on the practice squad. But other than that, I just, at this point with Travis Benjamin, I don't have too much faith. Don't have too much faith for a 31-year-old who hasn't played football in a couple years. And then you look at traits, you look at skill set. Again, he's kind of that Richie James mold. We got Richie James. I'll take the 25-year-old. I'll take the 25-year-old version of Travis Benjamin. So that's where Richie James come into play. Benjamin is a better deep ball threat than James. Good replacement for good one. But honestly, how can you say that? Because how often do we use Richie James as a deep ball threat? How often do we use really many of our wide receivers as a deep ball threat? We don't, because we predicate so much of the stuff that we do off of running the football. So we're more predicated on matchups. Now with Benjamin, is Benjamin going to garner the respect from defensive coordinators and safeties that they're going to have to roll coverage over to his side to ensure that they don't get beat over the top? I don't think so. I think NFL defenses and defensive coordinators, they'll look at Travis Benjamin if he's on the field, and they'll be like, all right, we got man over there. That's fine. Just throw one man over there on Travis. I think we're going to be okay. This team doesn't challenge the deep ball enough for us to really care. And then you got Travis Benjamin out there. No, that's not scaring anyone, at least on paper. So we'll see, again, come game time. But in that situation, I would rather have Richie James to play the deep threat role. Again, River Cracraft, he has the ability to stretch the field. River Cracraft, again, a guy I keep coming back to, hasn't done much in the NFL, hasn't had much opportunity. But again, you see the traits, and you think that if he gets the opportunity, gets some time to season in this offense, build a rapport with these quarterbacks, then, dude, the River Cracraft train's starting, guys. It's starting. It's officially starting. I just think his traits are nice, man. He's got nice traits. He's got nice traits. He can. He can. That's the thing. He can. River can. River's fast, dude. And that's the thing. People just haven't seen enough of him. People have not seen enough of him. He has the speed. He's got the wiggle. He's got the routes. He's got the size. You just got to see it. That's it. So, again, we're looking at potential with River. We're not looking at look at the work. Here's the work that he's put in. And we're going to be like, see, this work will translate to this. That's not how we're looking at it. We're looking at this as if we were scouting draft prospects. We're looking at guys who, let's say, don't have NFL experience, but we have to look at the traits. We scout the ability and see how it translates. Now, I get it. If you haven't seen him and you haven't seen the traits, you aren't going to be excited about a wide receiver named River Cracraft out of Washington State, who's kind of bounced around a little bit here or there from Denver to us. I get it. And that's fine. And you are absolutely can have that opinion and you can hold it against me. That's fine. But like I said, I've been in the business of scouting traits for a long time. So when I'm looking at his traits, he has good traits. He really does. And now it's the next step. It's the next step. Can he take the traits? Can he take the ability the actual raw ability and turn it into functional production? That's the question mark. That's what we don't know. That's what we don't know what Kyle thinks. We don't know what their offense thinks. We don't know what the quarterbacks think. We're just looking at it in a vacuum. This player, you look at the traits, he has NFL traits, he has NFL size, and you can see how that can translate into being a productive wide receiver, again, if given the opportunity and if trusted by the coaching staff. Now, who knows? Because, again, remember, we were excited about Trent Taylor. I was excited about Trent Taylor going in as kind of the slot guy back in 2019 to be able to build and be that kind of slot guy. He unfortunately got hurt. And, again, we know the story there. But you look at Cracraft, he's got some of the same kind of ability, but he's bigger. So just got to see it. Just got to see it. But really, honestly, if these guys can meet some of the potential that they have, Hurd, Jennings, James, Cracraft, hell, even a Sherfield, who knows? I think that's one of the most exciting things about this offseason. I think, you take a step back. I think you take a step back. Would it have been nice to go into the season with Julio Jones, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Mostert, Trey Sermon, and whatever quarterback you want to trot out there with the offensive line? I think, of course, 49er fans would be through the moon. I think defensive coordinators would be crapping their pants everywhere because how do you stop that? But now, since we didn't get that and we transition to what we have, what you can get excited about is that we got a lot of guys that have potential. Now, potential's scary. Potential is really scary because it can go either way. And it only takes a couple plays for your entire career trajectory to switch. If you don't meet your potential, if you don't execute when given the opportunity. So that's the biggest thing with these guys is we have guys with so much potential. We just don't have proven guys. Even our young guys that we have that we consider proven are still unproven in the grand scheme of the NFL. So for the 49ers, heading into 2021, I think we're going to be looking at the wide receiver position quite a bit. And we're going to be talking about it quite a bit, not just in the lead up until the season, but I think through the season, because we want to see who wins it. And again, it's not going to be a stranglehold on wide receiver 3. It's who's the preferred wide receiver 3 in the preferred 11 personnel grouping. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? When it's third down and long, who's that third guy? I think that's what we want to look for and we want to see. And again, and you look at the history of the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, since he's taken over, that third guy has been Trent Taylor. That third guy has been Kendrick Bourne. That third guy has been Richie James in spots. So, again, you look at all these guys and you just look at the potential. Just look at the potential. And then we see how what goes on in camp. I think everyone and their mother wants to see Jalen Hurd be successful. I think 49er fans would really, really like to see that. I know I personally would. Nolan makes a very good point. And he's basically saying a lot of the problem with some of the feedback and conversation amongst the fans is that a lot of fans just typically don't understand the importance of role players in the NFL. It kind of feels like it's either you're a starter or you're a bust situation, when in reality it's so hard to make that final 53, and it's so hard to make that not even the final 53, not all 53 dress on game day. I think 46 used to dress. Now it might bump up. But that's hard. It's hard to do. And clearly we've seen the 49ers. We've seen what some of these role players do. Like we've seen Marcel Harris in spots make huge plays. The strip fumble on Lamar Jackson in 2019. He had a huge special teams play against the Browns. OBJ forced fumble. You can pick these guys that are role players that you don't necessarily consider, main pieces, but they contribute a lot. DJ Jones on the interior defensive line, what he does with his first step quickness as a role player. What other role players are we looking at? Like Al-Shaair doesn't get enough credit. Al-Shaair doesn't get enough credit as a role player. Who else? Jeff Wilson was a role player. He stood up big time. We got guy, of course, Kendrick Bourne, the original role player. K1 in the nickel. So Hasty, role player. Like, we need depth. We need guys. Ooh, good call, Richie Rich. Dwelly might be one of the most important role players on this offense. Like, not many people talk about Ross the Boss Dwelly, peanut butter Dwelly time. But Dwelly, man, sleep. People, ever since he showed up, all he does is make plays when we need him to make plays. All he does. Mike, when I talked to Mike McGlinchey, he talked about it. And he mentioned Ross specifically. But he's like, yeah, remember on that 2019 season? Remember when I was hurt? Remember when Staley was hurt? Remember when Juice was hurt? He's like, man, Dwelly came in for us and did everything. Dwelly played fullback. Dwelly played H-back. He played tight end. They moved him out into the slot. You go back to, I just posted about the Washington game back in 2019, the Mud Bowl. Dwelly had one of the most important plays in that game. It was a dog fight in the mud and rain, and not much was happening. And Dwelly makes a crucial, is fourth down, completely stretches out in the rain, makes an acrobatic catch on fourth down, moves the chains, ended up being a huge play to propel the 49ers to victory. Dwelly is a huge piece. So while we're specifically talking about wide receiver 3, it's technically in this offense, if you're a wide receiver that makes the final cut, you got to be able to contribute, because again, we're rolling out packages, we're rolling out groupings, we're rolling out different guys based on scenarios. So you find that scenario that you thrive in, whether that's down and distance, red zone, long, like if you have, third and long, things like that. Because again, we look at KB was a chain mover. KB scored touchdowns, although he had 2 touchdowns last year. It's typically what he was able to do. So again, who's going to be that guy? Who's going to be that guy to come in, play well in spots, play well in situation? And like I said, Mike McDaniels did a lot to help Sanu's stock last week by already saying, basically, he's in such good shape, he doesn't know how anyone's going to beat him out for a roster spot. Bold. And I think that speaks to as well how pleased they are with Sanu now versus when they added him last year. Like I said, last year was, I think, just an odd year, especially for veterans like Sanu who weren't in camp, who weren't doing any of that, and then get signed into the season. Again, gyms aren't open. It's quarantine. You're not in your normal shape. You're not doing your normal stuff with trainers. So maybe when we signed Sanu last year, just wasn't in his best shape. Just wasn't in game shape. And the 49ers just felt that, all right, well, we're going to go elsewhere. River Cracraft was someone that was added. And River Cracraft is stuck so far. So with Sanu, I think he just came back ready. And I think the coaching staff, props to them for recognizing that he showed up ready. So you like to see that. J Media on YouTube, he calls it Ayuk 1, Debo 2, Sanu 3. P on YouTube says wide receiver 3 might be Travis Benjamin. That's a bold take. I think that's even bolder than me saying Cracraft wide receiver 3. Oh, man. But honestly, just I'm excited about the growth of this position. I'm excited about who steps up, and that's the most fun thing that I can look at from this specific group itself. I feel like I'm in this situation every year where I can't pick 6 wide receivers and feel comfortable. There's always this fringe guy, this 7th wide receiver that I want to make the team, where it makes it a lot harder to make a definitive decision, because I think there is genuine ability. So, all right, J Media hit me with the real hard-hitting question. I'll pull it up, J Media. J Media hit me with a real hard-hitting question. So, as the leader of the Trent Taylor hive, big Trent Taylor fan, really had high hopes for him going from his 2017 year to 2018 year, and then was really hoping for him to take the next step in 2019 after a down 2018 year, and then he gets injured. And so this again, I love that you asked this question, J Media, because this is also partially why I'm being drawn to River Cracraft, because I've had this thought process in my head. Like, is River Cracraft better, taking a step back and just looking at the traits, looking at the measurables? Again, production, it's hard to measure. They haven't had the same opportunities, but again, traits, measurables, things like that, just typically how I would maybe scout anyone else coming into the league. I would pick Trent. If you're listening, I love you. Don't hate me. I would pick River Cracraft over Trent, and I love Trent. I love Trent's skill set. Even though a lot of people, they see the size and they don't really value the slot ability of a guy like Trent Taylor, I appreciated his role. I appreciated his skill set and what he could do. Just unfortunately didn't see it come to fruition. But you look at the two guys, again, River Cracraft. River Cracraft's like a solid 6 foot, 6'1". He's got good size. He is, about 200, 205, 210. He's got the measurables over Trent. So based on measurables alone, you have to give it to River. But then again, you look at the traits. They have very similar suddenness. So there are different types of wide receivers. You have your striders, you have your pure speed guys, you have your pure route guys, you have your do-it-all guys. Like there's so many different archetypes when it comes to wide receiver. But you look at River Cracraft. River Cracraft is kind of like got the movement ability and some of the skill set of a slot guy, but he also can do everything as an outside receiver can. Whereas I think when you look at Trent Taylor was like slot only. You're not putting Trent on the outside. You're not having him run long developing routes. That's not what you're using Trent Taylor for. You're using him close to the line of scrimmage, and you're keeping him close to the quarterback so he can run his quick routes in and out of breaks, do things like that, get open based on position. With River Cracraft, man, he brings the whole book of routes. That's the difference. With River, he can play outside wide receiver based on the measurables and traits that I've seen. You can stick him on the outside. You can put him in the slot. You can do both. And with River Cracraft, you see the speed, you see the twitch, you see the way he sets up certain routes. You see the way he breaks in and out of the top of his routes. And you look at that and you look at Trent Taylor and you're like, ooh, I don't think Trent could have done it like that. Like, again, I love Trent. I loved his ability as a slot guy, working in a phone booth, like Trent Taylor in a phone booth, loved it. Well, River Cracraft can work you in a phone booth, but he can also step out of that phone booth and he can also kill you that way too. So I think with River Cracraft, and you're looking and comparing Trent Taylor, you're comparing the two. I think River, from a traits perspective, is a more complete wide receiver. He's a more complete wide receiver. And again, I got to make sure I'm not crazy. So I'm going to the source. I'm asking people who know this kid and have been working with this kid, and they like him. They like him a lot. So I know a lot of you are already getting sick of the River Cracraft hype. I get it. I understand it. It's hard to lean into something that maybe you aren't familiar with. But, God, I like River, man. Just got to see it. Again, just got to see it. But, Jay Media, good question. Good question. I think based on all those things that I just talked about, I think I would pick River Cracraft over Trent Taylor. And I love Trent, man. I love Trent. Trent, don't block me. Don't block me, man. Don't block me. But I like River Cracraft, man. I do. I told you the train was starting. You'll trade Alan Lazard for George Kittle. You Green Bay Packers, man. Glad I'm not a fan of that team right now. Trent was good before the foot injuries. Absolutely, man. I had high hopes for Trent. In the slot because, again, you also looked at our quarterback at the time, Jimmy Garoppolo. You looked at the way that he operated the offense and things like that. It just felt like Trent Taylor and that whole situation coming off 2017 would have made think we are so injury prone. Hey, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. I really do. Appreciate that. Exactly. So, again, God, I love Trent, man. I love Trent. But 2018, man, he somehow ended up in the doghouse. I don't know how. He ended up in the doghouse. Unfortunately, he came back ready in 2019. Again, you've heard all the stories, MVP of camp and all that kind of stuff, 2019. All right, we're back on YouTube. AT&T. We got problems. AT&T. But J Diaz says, guys, there's no problem with admitting that Debo is a role player. So question for you guys. Is Debo a role player? Is Debo Samuel simply a role player? Is he a foundational piece? Is he what? How do you guys quantify Debo Samuel? And while you guys are talking about that, I love it. I love this. Terrell, great question. Why the love for Cracraft? Why the love? Why the love for Cracraft? Never even heard of him until late last season. I've never heard of him until late last season either. I had never heard of River Cracraft until he was signed by our team. Never heard of him. And when we signed him and he was getting on the field, I was like, who is this guy? It's like, where's Trent? That was what I was saying last year. I was like, why isn't Trent playing? I was like, who's this River guy? Why is this guy named River playing? Who is he? I've never heard of him. Why isn't Trent Taylor playing? Why isn't Trent in? Why isn't Trent in? Why is this guy River Cracraft in? Who is this guy? So again, Terrell, I had the same thoughts as you. Who is this guy? Like who is he? Honestly, and kind of that continued for the rest of the season. I was like, I didn't see a path for River Cracraft to even make this team this year. But like I said, I started looking. I started watching. I started doing the research. And once I started watching and once I started diving into the traits again, I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And I think a lot of it is with River. His name's River Cracraft. He's a white guy. He's playing wide receiver in the NFL. He's already at extreme disadvantage at that point alone. Like, we get it. Like, us white guys, we like to play on the offensive line because we don't move as well and all that good stuff. But every once in a while, we get one of those guys to break through. And with River, again, you take a look, you take a step back, you look at the traits, you look at his size and measurables and everything, and you're just like, there's something there. But you can't just, there's something there with a lot of players. It takes the coaching staff to pull it out of them. It takes the coaching staff to put them in a position to make plays and do something with the opportunity. So with River, like I've talked about it, it's like, I don't know why I'm being gravitated towards him. I do know why on one hand, on the other hand, I don't. Because again, all the same things you mentioned. Last year, I was like, who's River Cracraft? I was like, why is he on our team? And then I was getting pissed off because he was getting looks and Trent Taylor wasn't. I was getting upset. But like I said, I've had time to take a step back and actually look at who this guy is and look into him as a player. And I don't know, man. Again, I'm not guaranteeing he gets opportunity. I'm not guaranteeing he's going to come out and put up 600 yards production next year and score 4 touchdowns. That's not what I'm not predicting or guaranteeing. All I'm saying is, based on what I have seen from him, I like him in this competition. So, and then on Instagram, we got the Debo conversation going on. If we pick back up on the Debo situation, we're having the debate at the moment: is Debo Samuel is he a role player, or is he a foundational piece? What is Debo Samuel? How do you quantify him? So that's the thing. With Debo Samuel, he's a product of his environment. He can only be used however the coaching staff implements him. With last year, I think with some of the issues with the offensive line play, the quarterback play, everything in between, it lent itself to the offense running a lot of quick plays, plays where you get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly, attacking the edges and doing things like that because of pressure that was coming up the interior, pressure that was coming off the edge, all of those kinds of things. I think with the 49ers and the scheme and how they went about it is they decided, like, okay, we got to get the ball out quickly. We got to design plays that are not going to put us in position to create turnovers, and we got to get the ball in the hands of our playmakers. And so I think a lot of that lent itself to some of the gadget plays that we've seen. Debo Samuel getting the ball like behind the line of scrimmage, more so than in front of it. I think that's a correlation to that's more indicative of the unit, the offense as a unit, than him himself. Because again, we don't see him implemented in the role of being a true wide receiver. So can he do it? I absolutely think he can do it. I said this one before he was drafted. I said Debo Samuel's going to make the Pro Bowl running slant routes. That's it. Like he's so good at running slant. He's so good at running in short area. Oh, you stop it. He's so good at running in short area spaces that I just felt he would cook in the NFL running slant routes, but we don't even have him running slant routes very often. So I just think with Debo, it's less on him and more so on the offense and how we use him. So you guys, stop it. The ginger beard is blushing. But I'm excited about this conversation, man, because this is one that's going to be so in camp. In camp, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to see who takes it over the top. And again, guys, like I'm rooting for dark horse guys. Again, a lot of people see the River Cracraft hype and they're like, man, wide receiver 3 is going to be fun. A fun position battle to talk about. It's going to be your manager at Santa Clara AT&T. Can you help me get my internet squared away? I don't know what is going. My modem is 15 feet from me. Why does this keep happening, man? My modem is Like, why can't you make my internet work? Xfinity. I've had Xfinity before, man. I've had Xfinity. I've had an AT&T. I don't know, man. Someone hooked me up on the bundle. Oh, man. Where's my guy Felix at? They're roasting you over here. No, I'm calling AT&T right after this. I'm calling AT&T right after this. We got to get my stream right. Let's go. So, anyways, Google Wi-Fi. I didn't know that was such a thing. So, we're figuring this out. AT&T, you're getting a call right after this. We're going to finally get to the bottom of all these internet issues that I've had ever since I've moved into this house. We'll get it squared away. Because I know my guys on YouTube. It's okay on Instagram. It doesn't get too bad. On YouTube, it gets wild bad. So we'll get that figured out. Terrell says Debo is limited, but Shannon gets the most out of him. Ooh, spicy take. Hey, Felix, it's all love, brother. It's all love. Once they get my internet fixed, I'll be singing their praises. But until then, I got that McDonald's Wi-Fi going right now. Do I see us trading for someone surprisingly? Considering the compensation, probably not. I don't necessarily see it would be a surprise. If the 49ers went and traded for someone, it would be a surprise to me. Like I said, you might not have, like with some of these positions, you might not have proven guys at wide receiver, but there's potential. And potential scary though, right? Especially as a fan, just because you feel more comfortable when you have someone who's proven in that role and you just kind of sleep better at night. My internet's having issues like our squad. That's what I'm saying, dude. I'll stand up out of my chair and I'll pop a router, or a router will just blow on me. I don't know what's going on. I don't even got to be doing nothing. The router just pops. Oh, man. Beasley would be interesting. But like I said, traits-wise, you got a Beasley on the roster. We got River Boy. The River Boy. We got to come up with a solid nickname for River Cracraft. Because again, you mentioned Cole Beasley, right? A lot of the traits that you like in Cole Beasley, River Cracraft has. He has those traits, and he's younger. Just unproven. We don't know. We don't know what we're gonna get. It's like a mystery bag. Or the wide receiver room is like a mystery bag. We don't know what we're gonna get. Trash can craft. I was gonna say Riverboat Cracraft. AT&T is horrible. I'm realizing that. At least from internet standpoint. And it's fine. I get it. I understand the backlash that comes with hyping up someone that is unproven. I've been in this business long enough. But guess what? We're doing it anyways. The train, choo-choo. The River Cracraft train is pulling out of the station. And you can either poop on it or join it or watch it. You literally have a choice to do any of it. But that's what we're doing. The River Cracraft train is going. and it's going to keep going and creeping and creeping. How do you know he's doo-doo, though? Have you seen him? Have you seen him, Rudy? Again, you're making assumptions on something that you have not enough knowledge about, which then makes you ignorant. You ignorant, boy. Fight for Kevin White. I love that we have dueling wide receiver 3, wide receiver 3, and internet speed conversations going back and forth. Fire. Brandon Cooks would be nice, especially if you get him for cheap. Brandon Cooks would be nice. Brandon Cooks, the most traded wide receiver in history. But yeah, I would like that. He would be nice. He would be one of those guys that you trade and you get and you're like, all right, we got 3 bona fide wide receivers that we know of and can count on. I guess every NFL team got to have a small white boy. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Hey, you never know, dude. You never know. White boy supreme could come through. You never know. But we'll see what happens. And I'm excited. Because we got like a month of River Cracraft hype. So, ooh. See, Nolan asks, who is the River Cracraft pro comp? That's a good question. I think that's something that I need to do a little bit more research on. I don't want to throw out a name because, again, 6 foot, 200. He fits the measurables. Oh, Rudy, you're good, bro. You're good. With River, he fits the measurables of a lot of wide receivers, man. He really does, from a measurable standpoint, being 6 foot, 6'1", 200, 210. What's up, Melvin? He fits a lot of guys. And it's hard to quantify. That's the thing with River. That's a good question, Nolan. You stumped the truck. I want to give you a good answer. I don't want to just pull some names out of thin air. I want to give you a good, thought out answer on who River Cracraft pro comp is, even though he's a pro. That's a good call. I'll look into that. My internet's got your phone acting up. Hey, it's contagious, bro. It's contagious. I'll pull up the River Cracraft tape now. Ooh. Let's see. I might have to. Let's see what we got, though. Let's see what's available. F, Mary, Kill, Cracraft, Heard, Sensi Spuck, which is, oh man, F, Mary, Kill. At this point, I'm marrying Cracraft, it seems like. At this point, that's what it seems like. Well, let's see. I'm looking. You might. Yeah, come through. Let's pull them up. Let's pull up River. So if you're on Instagram, if you want to come over to YouTube, I'm going to look and hunt, see what I can find. And we'll just enjoy it together. So let me get my screen shared. Share. There we go. All right. Let's see what we got, River. Like a river. Like a river. Oh, we got a River ain't making the 53. Let's find out. You know, you could be right. You could be right. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong about River. But there's just something. We're watching. I got some highlights pulled up. Let's see what the River hype's all about. Let's watch it together. Again, we'll see what we find. We'll see what we like. Poor man Adam's Thielen. I think that's fair. Again, I don't want to comp him to Adam Thielen just because he's white. Oh, let's see what we got. And here we go. First play is River Cracraft stretching the field out of the slot. So you see you got safety already on top. And is this against Cal? So if this is against Cal, this is an NFL safety. This is an NFL safety, highly drafted. I'm not remembering his name at the moment. But there's the route. There's the subtleness, the suddenness of River Cracraft's ability. Again, watch him at the top of his route. Watch him sell the out. Watch him sell the out corner and break for the in-breaking route. Watch him sell it. He even completely turns his head. Watch it. Watch it right here. Look at, he knows he's got zone. They're running zone. Look at him whip his head around as if he's running it out. You see safety bites on it right away. And then, the timing. Like, see, that's what I talk about with River Cracraft. Like, this is stuff that not Kendrick Bourne, Ayuk does in the sense of setting up routes. Route running is an art form. Route running is an art form, and this is a perfect example of why route running is an art form. It's based on manipulation. You got to be able to get guys to bite on your moves, on your first moves. You have to be good enough for guys to bite on your first move so you can destroy them with their second move. If you want to watch, we're on YouTube. You gotta. Instagram doesn't have the function where I can share my screen. I'm sharing the screen on YouTube. If you want to watch, we're on YouTube. And if you're coming over, like the video, and that will help us get it into the algorithm. But again, just first play, you have to love that ability. And those are the things that I talk about. The SF Niners on YouTube. So these are the things that I love. The ability, because again, you can see this is his first step out of the top. You can see the safety's already biting. That's because the safety respects River's speed. That's why he's doing that. So he bites right away because he understands he's got this whole part of the field that he's responsible for. And based on his alignment and the way River was breaking, River was going to be open if he broke to the outside. So he had to bite instantly. But River knew that was happening, and he manipulated him with a double move at the top of the route. And then he finishes it. Again, this is against Cal. That secondary is an NFL secondary. Ooh! Let's go. Come on, guys. What are we talking? What are we talking, man? What are we talking? Let's run it back. We'll see the route. Bang, bang. Gets it. Is able to have the speed to finish it. Now let's watch the contested catch. Watch the contested catch. Oh, oh, yes, sir. I don't care what level of competition that you play at, this translates. That translates. I'm sorry. It does. We're going to slow it down. Let's slow it down a little bit. So let's watch the contested catch. Slow it down a bit. But again, contact is the same. Contact is the same. Doesn't matter what league you're in, doesn't matter what player you're in. If you have a player draped on you, you have a player draped on you. And you have to be able to go up. You see the ability for him to elevate. You see he's high pointing the football, getting his shoulders square to the ball while he's running in a specific direction to go up, get it, get hit mid-air, bring that thing in. You love to see it. You really love to see it. Oh, yeah. That's good stuff. Let's see. Hopefully, YouTube hasn't brought down the stream yet because they've already done that once today. So let's see. I got to make sure that they haven't brought it down yet because apparently you can't show clips. Okay. They haven't brought me down yet. Awesome. So let's keep going. So again, if you're just joining, if you're on Instagram still, we're on YouTube and we're watching some River Cracraft. So far, first play showed the route running ability. Again, one of the traits that I really, really liked. Second ability showed ability to make a high point catch and in a contested situation. Like that ability as well. So now we have him working out of the slot in this situation. So at the top of your screen, when it comes back around, you see him at the top. And again, it's the subtleness. The subtleness from him, man. I'm telling you. Let's watch it again. So you see the subtleness here by Cracraft to set up that one little step to the inside. That one little step to the inside changes. He's going to make a little hard cut in. It's going to affect the hips of this DB. Watch. See that cut? Oh, forced him to stutter. See that stutter? His hips are supposed to open up way smoother than that. They're supposed to open up way smoother than that, but it was enough, and that's all he needed, and he's gone. Goodbye. Look at what? That's what I'm saying, man. There's potential here. There's potential here. We just haven't seen it. There's potential here. Look at that contested catch. Mugged. The way the ball was thrown, the placement of it, that is a difficult catch. That is a difficult catch. So again, it's in college. Yeah, we get it. It's in college. But all these traits translate. All these traits translate. I don't care that this DB could be Stephon Gilmore for all I care. Because it doesn't matter. He's got a dude pulling on his arm all over him and has to adjust while he's being mugged to make the catch. Again, these are all the things of why I'm gravitating towards River Cracraft. These are the reasons why that I'm gravitating towards River Cracraft. Look at what he is doing out of the slot where we would see him play for the 49ers. Like, these guys don't have a shot. This is master class route running again, but it doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's subtle. He understands, again, that he's facing zone coverage. So they're going to have a safety over the top. This is the safety responsible for this side, and that will likely be keying on River. So what River wants to do is he wants to suck up into the middle of the field as much as possible. So see that cut, and he keeps hinting at it. You got this guy expecting maybe a slant. You see it. But then he pops it back out and goes right up the seam. No one can do anything. He pulls the guys out of position. Is able to make a great play. Again, like, this is the difference between Trent Taylor and River Cracraft. And this is what I was talking about. River can stretch the field. He has the ability to stretch the field. You see what he's doing right here in the seam. He has the ability. He can do it. Cool! Woo! What are we talking about? River. What are we talking about? All right, I'm just going to do this. We'll see if it works. I don't know if it's going to work. How do I switch this thing around? There we go. You're not going to get the best view, but this is how we're going to roll with it. If you want to see a better view, head to YouTube. You know the vibe. If you want to see a better view, head to YouTube. But this is what we got right now. Oh, geez. Technical difficulties everywhere. All right. We're multimedia. We're multifaceted around here, so I got to get this thing set up. All right, there we go. That's better. Let's start this over. All right. River Cracraft. Nolan, I'm freaking hyped. I get it. People don't know who River Cracraft is, and so they immediately want to discredit him. Who? River who? Who has the name River? This dude has the name River. This dude. Right up the seam. Come on. What are we talking about? Look at this. Bang. What are we talking about, though? Again, what are we talking about? When you are scouting, when you are evaluating, you have to be able to view these situations and say, does this translate? Does this translate to the NFL? Does a guy having coverage draped all over him, being mugged, having the ability to then adjust to a pass that is thrown slightly behind him to go over the top and make an acrobatic catch, and then be able to get his body in position to almost kind of run it out? Like, those are traits. Those are traits that we look for in players to be able to be successful at the next level. This is it. This is what I'm talking about. This is where the hype strives from and comes from. It comes from a place where this dude shows the ability. Again, has he done it in the NFL? Has he actually been able to be given the opportunity to do it? Not necessarily. We haven't seen a ton of them. We don't know. But if given the opportunity, man, that's what I'm saying. Like Trent Taylor's not making these catches. I love Trent, but Trent Taylor's not making these catches. Like, he just offers something much different. And then you see, oh, look at the wiggle. Look at the wiggle. That's what I'm saying, man. He's got the routes. He can run the routes. He has the athletic ability. He's got the traits. Here you have him playing outside receiver. Again, going back to what I was talking about with Trent Taylor. Trent Taylor's only a slot. or no, actually you have him in the slot, but they essentially he replaces roles with the outside receiver. And then you see again another contested catch. What a great throw, though. Great throw. Better catch. Great throw, better catch. Oh! Oh! Mugged. Look at this. This translates. Look, mugged. Look. Oh! I love wide receivers who square up to the football when it's in the air. I love it. I love it. If you can do if you can do what River's doing to me, this is an indication when I'm scouting guys, like this is an indication of your athletic ability. This is an indication of you being a receiver. This is an indication of that. Being able to do that, again, the subtleness of having his left arm in contact, being able to create enough separation so that when he decides that he's going to elevate for the football, he has enough space. Like, look, these guys are arm fighting the entire way through. They're fighting the entire way through, but the small savviness of him, look, see the arm? He's also doing that to make sure he has enough separation to be able to do this move that he does. Look at that. Sets it up, goes and gets it. It's the small things, man. It's a whoo! One-handed river? One-handed river? Like a river. Oh, yes, river. Yes. Yes, queen. I love it. I love it. Dude, he is destroying out of the slot. He is, oh man, I'm telling you, there's this subtleness to his game. There's a subtleness to his route running. There's a subtleness to his ability that if given an opportunity, I think he could do a lot with it. I really do. I really do. Let's see who's guarding him. Where's Demo? There's Holland. Is that Demo? I don't know. I don't see Demo. He's not wearing number 0. Or no. I don't know. Commodore was playing for a bunch of different numbers, I feel like. He might not have been. This is a couple years ago. Now that I think about it. But again, let's see what we got. I just so far he's shown everything that you need to be able to do to be a complete wide receiver. The ability to stop, come back with the back shoulder. Even I don't even know if that was supposed to be a back shoulder or not. But he has the ability, and that's what I'm talking about. When I talk about potential, when I talk about why I feel the way I do, he's showing the ability. Again, we want this ability to stop on a dime, again, out of the slant, turn a 5-yard gain, 4-yard gain into a touchdown. Now, again, this is Cal. These DBs all went to the league. Every single one of these DBs went to the league. So you can try and say level of competition or whatever. Every single one of those DBs went to the league. And that's just the ability to get open, make a catch. Robbie Gould over River. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Just don't. I mean, you could keep sleeping. You can sleep if you want. Clearly, we're not sleeping. And as the day goes by, I just keep getting more and more excited for the kid. Because this year he has an opportunity. This year, he has a real opportunity to make some noise. The 49ers didn't go after Julio Jones. They didn't draft a wide receiver. This is a guy that will be able to compete. Like, everything that he's showing, you could see happening on Sundays. 2 feet, 1 foot. 2 feet. Ooh. Rules are a little bit different, but good job getting that 1 foot down. Watch right here. Right here. Taps it right at the end. Bank. Got it. That's called awareness. Look at this. The ability to go up the seam in the slot, catch it like that, knowing you're going to get destroyed. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Like, keep sleeping. I'm fine. I won't lose any sleep. You guys can keep sleeping. I won't lose any sleep. But I am excited. And I'm fine being the only one excited. And I'm even more excited now watching this. Because I'll be honest, I've never seen this before. All of this is brand new. I've never seen any of this. So I'm hyped because all of my feelings and everything that I've seen thus far in the NFL, I see it here. I see it here. So just saying, sometimes all you need is an opportunity. All you need is an opportunity sometimes. And right now, the wide receiver 3 position is wide open. Wide open. So far, I'm seeing a guy that can do everything that Trent Taylor did in the slot plus more. I'm seeing a guy that what Kendrick Bourne did in the slot plus more. That's what I'm saying. And so when you start stacking these guys up from a traits perspective, like, and you're just looking at the traits. I see awareness. I see toughness. I see speed. I see agility. I see the measurables. I see hands. I see his understanding of being able to manipulate defenders, route running. Like, come on, man. So, good call, Nolan. Good call, Nolan. Pulling up some tape. Good call. Good call. But yeah. That's what we're talking about. We like River. We like River around here. And so guess what? Get used to it. Get used to it. We're going to be hearing his name a lot more from this. All that good stuff. So, big fan of River. Big fan of the potential, right? The potential. No one is here saying this dude is the next T.O. It's not what anyone is saying. What I'm saying is just don't be surprised if he makes the final 53. And don't be surprised if he contributes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Nolan's ready to run through a wall because he's so ready for the season. I would agree. So, again, excited. This wide receiver 3 conversation will continue on throughout the entire year. I think it's up for grabs between Richie James, Sanu, Hurd, Juwan Jennings and Cracraft. I think those are the main competitors. See, I know Thielen might be the comp, but I'm trying my hardest to stay away from the white boy comp. I'm trying my hardest. It's too easy. It's too easy to say Thielen. But there's a lot that compares to Thielen, because with Thielen is a complete wide receiver. Thielen does routes well. He has the sudden, like all the same kind of traits. He might be the comp, but like I said, I want to be a little bit more thoughtful than just saying Thielen. But we'll see. So the Cracraft train has started. You can either get on, you don't have to get on. You can just watch it from afar. You can throw tomatoes at us and you can throw eggs at us as our train drives by. We don't care. We don't care. Because at the end of the day, it's not up to me. I'm not putting these players out there. I'm not scheming it up. I'm not in practice. So I can't be the one to be like, oh, do this, do that. I can only just look back and say, hey, we got some guys. We got some guys on the squad. So maybe that wide receiver 3 position that we might feel like, oh, what are we going to do there? Maybe we're okay. You know what? Maybe we're okay. Maybe Sanu really is looking like he's going to contribute. Richie James has been a steady contributor when given opportunity. Maybe he takes that next step. And then you look at guys like Hurd. Maybe Hurd comes back and we get to see him come back to form and get some production out of him. And then guys, again, like we don't know. Juwan Jennings, we don't know. River Cracraft, we don't know. So we'll see. And we'll be able to talk about this at length for a month. So I'm excited. I appreciate everyone, as always, watching this ginger beard get hyped for no reason. We really do appreciate it. Okay, so this is what we might do. It's a long off season. So today we talked about wide receiver 3 and we spent some specific time on River Cracraft. All right, well, maybe we'll come back tomorrow. We'll do some Sanu work. We'll do some Richie James. Who knows? We got a lot of time and a lot of off season to start pulling up some tape and watch these guys and analyze them together, just like we did with River Cracraft. So we'll do this throughout. We got a long off season ahead of us. So we'll get to it. But I think that caps it for today. That was kind of fun. Got me out here sweating in the garage. I was getting hyped for River, man. I'm getting hyped for River Cracraft. I know I shouldn't be, but it is what it is. So what's tomorrow? Wednesday. I'll likely be back tomorrow. May stop by for late night chat. Who knows? We're just talking at this point. So I appreciate everyone hopping in. Thank you, Bryson. I seen you commenting a lot. I appreciate the invite. Don't mute me. I think that's one of the funnest things about this is just interacting with you guys and being able to conversate with you as we move through this. So I appreciate all of you guys who contribute to the show and the conversation. Again, really makes it fun. Nolan, we wouldn't be looking at River Cracraft tape if you didn't suggest it. So again, your guys' input is so appreciated when it comes to these things, and just love chopping it up with you guys about football. So we'll be back. We'll be doing this. We're not going nowhere. Again, appreciate everyone. Like and subscribe. You know, I got to do that whole thing because we're YouTubers now. So like and subscribe. Appreciate it. All that good stuff. We'll be back to talk plenty of 49ers football. You all have a great rest of your afternoon, and go Niners.